3, 2, 1. Okay, good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, September the 24th, 7:30 a.m. here for the J88 North American 2022 weather briefing, and myself, Shay Gibson. Also, we're hoping Carrie Klingler will hop on this morning. I don't think we'll see Andrew, but also with me is Todd Bash. He's going to add something towards the end here, but I'm just going to quickly go through the slides. Housekeeping rules. Webinars live at 7:30. If you have questions, please field those in the chat box. I'm happy to address those questions or any of the feedback as soon as I'm done with the session. So we may not have a whole lot going on with race talk as far as the course goes. I see Kerry hopping on now, so we'll tap into him momentarily. But SailFlow, this daily shameless plug for SailFlow. If you haven't tried the app, please do. Free 2-week trial version for the pro membership. If you want to give that a whirl, it's no strings attached. Any questions about that, give me a holler at sgibson@weatherflow.com. We do have sensors in the area, and we've talked about this the last couple of days. We're using some of the local nearby sensors as well as our own. So we thank the NDBC and Great Lakes Environmental Research Lab networks and anyone else that has sensors in the area. It's very data rich for this location in the Great Lakes. So we're happy to see that much data and really helps the forecasting efforts. Race area is going to be the normal race ring for today. I think we're going to see winds steadily going from south, and then we're going to be going to the right through the day. So it looks like the closer to shore, probably the less the winds as winds start to clock over from the south to the west. And we'll get into those details momentarily, but let's go ahead and look over at the visible satellite. And you can kind of see what yesterday with that warm front that I talked about that brought the clouding, a few showers, that's sort of starting to head off to the north. That area of troughing is heading off to the northeast. But we do have a segment of warm front with an included low trying to make its way towards the area. If we look at the WPC surface map, let me see if I can find my draw tool here and bring it over. And this little area right here, this little segment of warm front is going to be heading towards the area. Now, the air is rather dry ahead of it, so I'm not expecting a lot of precip. In fact, most of the precip we're seeing now is developing right over the center of the lake, where that cooler air, so the warmer water, or the mix of the two, is heading off to the northeast. So some of that moisture is just kind of originating over the lake and then heading off. So we're not seeing very much near the Chicago area. But as we go into time, we see that this front will advance towards the area rather fast for the next 6 hours. It looks like it's going to really near the area. So we're going to continue to see clouding, maybe a few sprinkles, maybe a drizzle or two here and there, but otherwise we'll probably see some open pockets as this front begins to fizzle, and we may even see some sunshine. So you cannot rule out some instability to be created within the sea breeze, and we may get a little bit of breeze activity this afternoon, otherwise rather light. And I'm going to go into the wind speeds in just a moment here, but I want to go out one more tick. This is at 2 o'clock, and then we get one more, and then that area of low pressure moves over by late afternoon. So that's when we start to see the increase of precip, is when that low approaches and the occlusion occurs and the warm air is dispelled. We start to see that kind of troughing pull in from the northwest, and we see those showers kind of moving in. But for the day, it looks pretty well overall, besides the clouding. And if we look at the winds, I think we're seeing this Harrison Dever crib buoy still reading a little high in my opinion. It may be true, but it may be a knot or two off. Either way, we're looking at about 11 to 15 knots right now to start, and that's straight from the south. So we're about 180 degrees, but then starting to veer a little bit 190, and we're going to continue to see this through the day. So right now we have a modest to somewhat moderate gradient built from that warm front advancement from the south and the high pressure to the southeast, and that's creating that little bit of a gradient this morning. That's going to fall off. Winds are going to start to veer more southwest over to 200 to 220 as we get towards the race start. So I'm anticipating about an 8 to 12 knot start. And I'm just going to use, actually, you know, I'm going to use this one instead of the Harrison Dever crib, the 45198, and we're just going to run all the model solutions here just to see what it's saying. And you know, they're pretty much all in agreement on the clocking factor, right? So we're going to be seeing by the race start, possibly even west southwest, we could be ranging from 230 to 250 degrees, or even a straight 250 by the time we get at the race start with 8 to 12 knots, right? So that's going to be my call for 11 o'clock a.m. As we get to 12 o'clock, we see it veering just a little bit more west by south, and then we're getting into 250, 260 degrees, and a little bit less. We're at about 6 to 10 knots by 12:30, 1 o'clock. We're even getting down to 5 to 9. Now the HRRR, the Wolf Wharf 3 kilometer, those are looking a little bit on the higher end. So we could still see 7 to 11 with some gusts hitting 12 and 13 knots, but it's going to be lightening from the day and going to the right. And that's sort of the thing. I think we're going to end up finishing right around 4 to 8 or 5 to 9 knots. And that's going to be the call for the 1 to 2 o'clock range. So, and even 2 to 3, maybe even a little bit lighter. There could be a little bit of a sea breeze that starts up right around 1:30, 2 o'clock. If we get some sunshine, then that may try to help back winds a little bit more southwest, but it looks like for the most part, it's going to be veering and clocking for pretty much the whole day. Let's see, we got Kerry on the phone. Kerry, how are you today, sir? I should say on the Zoom call, not phone.
Hi, I'm tired.
I understand we're in race day 3. We got one more to go. How did it go out there yesterday? I mean, it looked like the forecast panned out just right. Did you guys get any showers in the area, or was it?
Yesterday when I was asking about the cloud cover and the effect of the wind not going to the sea breeze nearly as much, that definitely paid out and proved to be untrue. It was very unstable, and it was a very laney, puffy, more so than I've ever seen in Chicago as far as lanes and really small pockets of wind. So it was a tough day. It was a very challenging day. Today, I don't know what to make of it. I would say it's going to be more and more difficult as the day goes on, with it getting lighter and lighter.
Mm-hmm. And as if you're tacking towards land, right, the closer you get to land, the less speed you're going to get. You get that the mechanical features that do some land shadowing, and the winds tend to be a little bit more turbulent along the west side of the course. So what's your advice here? Would you advise folks to stay a little farther out over the water, or we're looking at swell heights about 2 feet to start and probably backing 1 foot as winds veer?
I don't think so. I think you just gotta, it's gonna be shifty again. And you just gotta, it's kind of weird because you can look around on the water and lots of times out here, you can see the generation of a puff coming towards you. And so I think you almost have to make sure you're in the pressure, but you also have to make sure you're in phase.
Right. And it'll be pleasant today. I think we're going to have high air temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s. Water temperature is sitting right about 66 degrees. And again, swell heights probably be around 1 foot. I think that's pretty much a wrap for today. I don't have much else to give. I mean, we may finish west around 2, 3 o'clock, but it's really just gonna be a slowly clocking wind with speeds coming down into the single digits. Still have some gusts 10 to 12 knots by the 1, 2 o'clock range, but it's really gonna be kind of coming down and getting lighter. And with that, I'll go ahead and end the segment for the forecasting, but I wanted to bring Todd in. Todd, did you have something you want to add?
Yeah, just I want to invite everybody to the debrief at the end of the day. We're going to try and put one together today before the last day of racing, in the chaos of being on the docks at the end of the day. But if we can arrange it, we're going to gather people up and talk about the racing and get the good boats to talk about what they did right out there. That's it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd. And we do have a question. Libby Tomlinson's asking, any idea what was creating the giant shifts and velocity changes yesterday, like every 30 seconds? My idea on that is when you have warm front activity near the area, that creates instability. So you have warm air pockets and aloft as well, trying to settle down where it's being forced down. And we know that warm air wants to rise, but then when there's a blanket overhead, it tends to trap that warmer air. And then you get it over a little bit of cooler water, right? You get a little instability so that those winds sort of bounce along the water. I know we see that in the Charleston Harbor from time to time where it's just not very consistent. And especially from that direction, when you have a full sea breeze, southeast or an east flow in the afternoon, that tends to be a little bit more stable overall. You tend to get more of a normalized graph, whereas that southeast to southeast range yesterday was just a little turbulent and bouncy out there. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, it's Mike Will, not Libby. Okay, I guess when he comments, it comes up as Libby Tomlinson. So apologies there, Mike. Thanks for the question. I appreciate that. Hopefully I answered it for you well. Other than that, I think we're going to sign off at this point. We'll see you back tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. And best of luck out there today. I'm sure it'll be a nice racing day, and we'll talk a little bit about the weather and the winds for tomorrow morning at 7:30. So then we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
Shay.